Welcome to Superluminal. In this video, I'll cover how you can get your Blender scenes rendering on the farm in seconds. With Superluminal, you don't have to worry about servers and settings, it just works. Go ahead and press on Start Rendering, and then I like to sign up with one of the social options to get back in easily. And then you'll be presented with the project page. Projects are ultimately a way of grouping renders. When you use Project Upload, renders in the same project will be able to share dependencies like textures or linked resources. The key thing is that each project is given its own dedicated storage bucket. Let's go ahead and create a new project such as time-lapse. Next, you'll need to add credits to your account, otherwise your renders won't start. Go ahead and click on the billing section and then change to the desired amount that you'd like to bill and press on Proceed to Checkout, where you have different options to purchase. I already have some credits in this account, so I'll go ahead and press on the X and go on to the next step where I can download the Blender add-on. Go ahead and hit Download Latest, and then identify the location of that file. The add-on works in any version of Blender 4.0 and higher, but I'll be using 5.0 for this tutorial, where I'm actually able to simply drag and drop the zip file we just downloaded to install it, ensuring I press Overwrite and Enable on Install. Pressing on OK, the add-on will then have a message saying it's installed. You can also install it the old-fashioned way, going to Edit, Preferences, Add-ons, and then you can use the drop-down to install from disk here. Next, we can use the handy button to connect to Superluminal. You can sign in with password and email, but I prefer to use the web authentication flow as that's a bit faster. And returning back to Blender, we can see we are now logged in. I'll go ahead and open my test scene, which is a simple day-night cycle. If I go into rendered mode, and while it's rendering slowly on my machine, you can see it has a full, nice 100 frame loop. I'll go ahead and exit out of the render mode, and then in the property panel, I can go to the render tab where we see the Superluminal render panel, which I'll drag to the top here. Expanding the panel, we can see the different options we have to get started. Firstly, the project was auto-selected as I only have one in my account, but I can choose other projects over here. And then we have different options for how to render. If we're using an animation, I typically would suggest using the scene render frame range to match the current scene. Thereafter, we have various different settings to choose from, such as the image format output. In this case, I'll use the default of the scene itself, so it matches that. And then we have different upload settings. This is where we're able to choose between the project and zip upload mechanism. Again, project will share resources between renders, but for this demo, I'll use the more standalone zip upload method. And then we have options such as including different add-ons to go with the upload itself in case those are necessary during render. Under render node settings, you can choose other options such as the specific version of Blender you'd like to use, as well as some experimental features such as ending a job early if a frame fails, attempting to keep persistent data between render frames, and an async frame upload option, which allows for the transfer of files during a render to save some time. Once you're happy with your settings, generally it's a good idea to render locally, save your file, of course, and then I suggest you submit a still frame first to make sure it works on the farm, but in this case, we'll go ahead and submit a full animation to watch the upload. Upon pressing this, you'll see that it opens up a console window where you can track the progress of the upload. At this point, you can open a different blend file, keep working on the same file, or even close Blender as long as the console window remains open. But let's go ahead and jump into the web by pressing Y on the console here, which will bring us back into the web page. Over here, you can see that the render is already well underway. On the left-hand side, we have the frame details view, which gives you a bit of insight onto each of the individual frames, as well as their state. On the right-hand side, a bit more about the job and machine status, and at the bottom, various stats about the overall render, including the download and transfer times. Back in the add-on, I like to enable the auto refresh options, which will keep track of my render progress. And then I can also define the download path where I can go ahead and download the job output even as the renders are still ongoing. This will open up another console window, which will download those files as they are completed. Seeing my render complete, I can go back and view the live preview of the animation to see how it turned out. And that just about covers it for how to use the add-on and the website for quick and easy rendering. We're working on a lot of cool new stuff such as cloud storage for productions that makes it easier to collaborate on bigger projects, a full project manager, remote workstations, so that over time, Superluminal will eventually become a fully fledged production suite. If you run into any issues, don't hesitate to reach out to the team. Otherwise, happy rendering.